Today I will be going over a few tips and tricks for Hero Hunter to help you beat teamers in the strongest battlegrounds. One of the most important aspects to achieving this goal is the character you choose. When faced with teamers, people often resort to using Genos. Players will use their moves recklessly, leaving them defenseless. I recommend Hero Hunter since all of its moves have a form of iframes. Iframes are similar to being invulnerable against most base move sets. Anyway, let's get into the video. Hunter's Grasp Collision. When a teamer initiates a forward dash, quickly block, then use Hunter's Grasp, throwing the teamer, causing a collision with the other. This is a great way to gain distance from the teamers, allowing you to wait for other cooldowns. The counter bait. When a teamer uses a forward dash, quickly block, then counter with 1m1, then side dash away. The other teamer will likely forward dash, causing the first teamer to counter them. You can counter them with your own counter or stall for your cooldowns. In this instance, I decided to use Flowing Water to inflict more damage and gain ULT faster. Now, we will be going over a few techs for a 1v1. Some of these techs can be used universally, but our main focus will be Garu. Anyway, let's get into. What in the world? This crab will feel my wrath. Enjoy your life while you still can. Keep the camera straight. The Twisted Tech is a great technique for combo extending. This tech allows you to deal extra damage by using a forward dash to unragdoll an opponent. You are able to chain another set of 4 M1S, then a move to maximize damage. As you can see by doing the Twisted Tech only twice, I was easily able to execute a one-shot combo. Now, in order to execute the Twisted Tech properly, you first need to do 4 normal M1S. After, you will want to quickly step backward, then forward dash. If done properly, your opponent will be within side dashing range. You will also have times when your opponent is so close you don't need to side dash. When this happens, don't M1 immediately because they will have iframes, so wait at least 1 second before you M1. This technique only works for Garu because of his final M1. For some of you who are more advanced, there is a more difficult version of this technique. You can execute it by doing a 180 dash after the 4th M1. This shortens your forward dash, allowing you to perfectly execute this tech. This technique is also good for stalling until a move is off of a cooldown. I would give Twisted a 9.5 out of 10 only because an opponent can ragdoll cancel out, but I would recommend learning it. The next technique is a much more difficult technique. It is referred to as the back roll cancel, and you will mainly see it used by high-skilled players. I struggled to grasp this technique, and it took even longer for me to get comfortable using it in an actual 1v1. It is risky to use if you're not comfortable using it, because if you fail, you would have wasted a move and a forward dash. As you could probably tell, I mainly used it with Flowing Water. The reason for this is because it is a block-breaking move and has a lot of range. Although you can use Lethal Whirlwind Stream, I wouldn't recommend it because it has a shorter range and is blockable. Your precision would need to be a lot higher when using Lethal Whirlwind than Flowing Water. Back roll cancels can also be used as a secondary side dash, which often catch people off guard. You can catch people without an M1 to stun them, but you should be careful when doing this because you will be vulnerable if you miss. It is very important to understand the range of your back roll cancel so you are not attacking when the opponent is out of reach. In order to successfully execute the back roll cancel, you will first need to do a Ghost M1. After, you will want to quickly equip Flowing water, then turn your character backwards. Then you will initiate your back roll while using flowing water at the same time. Depending on where your character is in relation to your opponent, you can turn your character towards your adversary to further improve consistency. Although the back roll cancel is useful to learn in my opinion, I think it's mainly for style points, especially with it being difficult to do consistently. It isn't something you should try to focus on as an intermediate player. However, as you get more advanced, you should attempt this technique because it is really useful when used efficiently. I would give the back roll cancel a rating of 9 out of 10. It's a universal technique that you can incorporate in most moves and is good for catching opponents off guard. However, it is a difficult technique to learn and requires several steps in order to execute. And if you miss, you are vulnerable. Because of this, I am mainly recommending this. For advanced players, it's a technique you can train to become comfortable when using it. The final technique I will be going over is the Lethal Whirlwind Extender. This technique allows you to unragdoll an opponent with a forward dash, and if done properly, you can extend with 4M, 1S. The technique was very difficult for me to do consistently, and I had to make several cuts. However, in my opinion and experience, I think that this technique is the most inconsistent. This technique can be seen as overdoing it, because if you miss, it would be a wasted opportunity to deal more damage. It is also punishable if you're too slow. If you are able to unragdoll the opponent, but your side dash is too slow, you can be countered. Nonetheless, if you are successful, you can deal a lot of damage. In order to do this tech, you will first need to use Lethal Whirlwind. Then you will want to time your jumping forward dash, so once you slam your opponent, you can use it. Depending on what you feel comfortable with, you can use Shift Lock, or you can just turn your character to execute the 180 forward dash. The distance your opponent is from you after you unragdoll them depends on how quickly you do the 180 forward dash. Here is a slowed example. As you can see, I take little time to change my direction. Then I quickly side dash to continue the combo. Based on my experience, I would say the faster you change the direction and the higher your jumping forward dash is, the shorter the distance of your opponent will be from you. I would give the Lethal Whirlwind Extender an 8 out of 10. It might be because I'm not consistent, but this technique is unpredictable. However, it is a tech that you can practice and get better at. It is good for dealing damage when flowing water is on cooldown. Your opponent can ragdoll cancel out and punish you, and it is also just to be stylish, but regardless, it is a good technique to learn. If you made it to the end, thank you for watching. I hope this video was informative and found everyone in good spirits. Let me know if you would like a part 2 or for me to do other characters in the comments. Anyway, have a wonderful day.